This is probably one of the craziest particle swarms that I've captured. It's hard to really rationalize something like this when you see it on your camera, but it's definitely an electromagnetic anomaly with some kind of either high vibrational energy or plasma, something like that. Okay, so I have some theories. They're just theories, of course. Take them with a grain of salt, but the best so far is what is happening is Earth is passing through high energy particle streams between our binary and our sun, which is the invisible Birkeland current that always connects the two. Because this happens mostly and most densely around July, August, which is when we supposedly pass through or pass into what's called the front side alignment, which is when Earth passes directly in between the binary and our sun and passes through that particle stream, which during July and August, of course, we have increased seismic activity, volcanism, all that nasty stuff, which is caused by us passing through these high energy particle streams, heating up the core, pushing up lava, that kind of stuff. There's another alignment, the backside alignment, that's, I think, towards the end of the year, somewhere around January, which is what we're coming into, which is basically when it's Earth, the sun, and then the binary. So it's basically an alignment like that, but we still get the gravitational and electromagnetic pull, and the plasma portals and all that kind of crap that connects them. Also, we kind of have random events passing through the various planetary particle streams, connecting the binaries. Because there's a celestial group attached to our binary, the Nibiru group, or whatever you want to call it. It's attached to the brown dwarf binary, whatever it is. So we occasionally pass through their connection streams, and when we pass through these streams, that's when I see these particle swarms, like right now, like you're seeing on the screen. So, and when these are occurring, seismic activity, volcanic activity is increased. I've correlated it each time. It's connected to solar activity. It's the only thing that I can really relate it to that makes sense. That actually fits the data. I've been going on, almost 4 years of nonstop every day documenting this stuff, trying to correlate it with real world events around the world, and from what I can tell, at least, this seems to fit. Now, whether that goes against other people's beliefs, I don't know. Glass dome firmament, I don't know. Maybe it's all possible there. They're just outside the firmament, outside the dome. I'm not conflicting with any of the biblical information. I'm actually more of a believer now than I've ever been. I'm just telling you what my observations are, what I've correlated with, the data and the real world actual events taking place on Earth. Land reformations, landslides, sinkholes, it all starts increasing when I start seeing these swarms. So, I'm putting two and two together here. Take it for what you will. I'm just sharing my piece. Alright, got a lot of little videos that I clipped in here. Some of the better ones, more interesting. Slowed down, as you can see. Sometimes they have dark nucleuses. If you pay close attention to some of these raindrops coming down, they look like they have little dots in them, and others don't. It's almost like those rods of God are coming down with these orbs, or these energies basically embedded in them. Then they hit something and they basically explode out in little groups. captured this stuff during rain, snow, dry, hot, cold, humid, windy, not windy, frigid. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Although sometimes the orbs are a little bigger, like this, where you can actually see detail on them. They're actually, when they go around kind of individually doing their own little thing, you know, gaping mouth on that one. You know, they kind of roll around. Some days they basically have, I don't know, it's almost like they have free will to do what they want. And instead of flying around in swarms and groups with the hive mind, they can basically wander around, and they actually look like they're feeding or catching, I don't know, some kind of other invisible particles, electrons, floating around, free electrons, but they shoot these little webs out in front of them to basically capture what I'm guessing is probably electrons and build up its vibrational energy. When that happens, they go from like a dim to a more bright. They capture enough, and they can split, almost like a living cell, split into two, shoot off two smaller orbs. They can turn into basically a fast-moving rod and shoot away. It's very interesting, some of the things that these things can do. And if you, oh man, what's that? I was going to talk about that little light kind of plasma-looking refraction that shows up when these things are up there. Kind of electromagnetics messes with the way light in your camera picks it up. Kind of makes like a dancing plasma-looking thing. You know, did a little test here in a little while. You know, I'm always doing experiments when I can with what I got. Put up a little string and dangled it down. You know, just to test to see if these things have anything to do with physical wind. You know, which of course they don't. You know, you can see the string's bent. There's nothing hanging on it. It's not pulled straight. Coming up, I got a little photo put together from Paul Muir, who studied these things pretty extensively over in Europe. So when this thing comes up, it's got a lot of information on one page. So be ready to pause it if you wanted to, you know, take a closer look and actually read it all. It's pretty interesting. It actually puts some pretty good science behind what these things really could be. So here it goes. So this isn't very too long, but he gets a lot of his information from, you know, Hopi legends and ancient legends, petroglyphs, stuff like that. Very good. Puts a little context to kind of what we're seeing. This is more from Mr. Paul Muir. He did, you know, a good decade or more of his own research over there, going around to all the places like Stonehenge and taking daytime photos of these things, you know, more or less when they're individuals kind of floating around, not quite like I'm getting at night when there's millions. But he picks them up in a lot more detail. He's done a lot more research on the background, the legends. If you want to check him out, it's Paul Muir, M-U-I-R, I think. Pretty good stuff. Added a lot to my research. But I mean, here you can see those little ones. They got little pills, almost like tongues that stick out. And they're so strange when they basically fly around like this. And see, there's the web. I mean, that thing almost looks like a motorcycle helmet. Shoots a little web like it's trying to catch something. Does double takes. I mean, obviously it can move around on its own. If it can stop and turn and go away. Pretty interesting.